Hi everyone, it's Raina. So I'm recording this later in the evening, and I just wanted to talk very briefly about some comment that I received in the morning today regarding not showing my face. The poster basically implied that it was sketchy or something along those lines, and I just want to explain why I don't show my face. If I were in my 20s right now, or even 30s, I think that if I had been exposed to the internet in the way that 20 and 30 somethings are today, there is a possibility that I would take advantage of that. Because the truth is, and this is the irony of what that person's post was supposed to suggest, is that if you show your face on camera, on YouTube, or on the internet in general, that you are trustworthy. And if you're hiding, then that means that you are a charlatan or whatever con artist. And it's absolutely ludicrous to think like that. I said, if you believe that, then you're a fool. I said, you're a damn fool, because there are plenty of people who use their looks and use their luxurious environment as a lure to get people to buy their services. An example would be somebody in the law of attraction, abundance, coaching genre who lives in Bali, all these glamorous places. And it occurred to me, because I always assumed that these people were living large, but then, I'm signed up for Yoga Trade, which is kind of a bartering system where people who have, Hatha Yoga teaching certificates or what have you, those credentials, or maybe they're massage therapists, they can get room and board at spas around the world, and then they don't have to pay for the boarding and maybe not the food cost, because sometimes those spa packages, they include, vegan buffets and all that stuff. And so it's very possible that some of those people are actually doing that as well. And I'm not saying the big names, because they are raking it in, the people who are well known, but I'm talking about the up and coming people. They may have these Instagrammable backdrops, and you think that they are either they come from wealthy families, or they are just so materially abundant, and actually they're trying to get their foot in the door by showing all of these lovely locations that they are staying at, but not disclosing that they are bartering and that kind of thing. And like I said, I don't even know if that's true. I've never heard of that directly. I'm just kind of like thinking about that, because I somehow got on Yoga Trade's mailing list. I don't have certification as a yoga teacher, but I was curious about how it all works, so I must have given them my email. So I just wanted to briefly say why I don't show my face. First of all, when the internet became a thing in the mid-90s, which sounds like when the Victrola was rolled out, I was already well into my 20s, I think. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I was well into my 20s, and I was, I had a friend who had, the internet at home, and that was very rare in the mid-90s. And I remember going on Yahoo, and actually, for years after that, I didn't go on. It wasn't until about 2000 that became much more commonplace. They had internet cafes, I'm sure some of you remember, and they used to tell us to be very, very careful about ever giving out our personal information online. And this was well before Facebook. It was well before YouTube, because I believe Facebook came out in 2005. YouTube, I think, came out in 2004. I think YouTube, or maybe 2005. I think they might have come out around the same time. So social media wasn't a thing. Maybe MySpace was. I can't remember. No, I actually, I don't know. I don't know I know MySpace bit the dust long before Facebook has. Well, Facebook obviously is still going on, but I mean, in the heyday of Facebook when so many people were using it. But anyway, that was one thing, and I was actually working for a school district in the early 2000s, and they were like looking at people's profiles, and they actually, employers were doing that long after that. I'm sure nowadays, I don't know if they still check on people's profiles, but anyway, that was a thing. But the bottom line is, I wasn't, when I started in 2015, I started making videos 10 years ago in 2014, but they did not lend themselves to showing my face on camera. They were not, I was practicing, and they were not for readings. In 2015, when I started, I already knew of somebody, or maybe more than one person, who wasn't showing their face. That's the only reason I ever ventured into this in the first place. And so that made me feel more comfortable. I have my sun in the 8th house. It is in Sagittarius, but I found out recently that in Vedic astrology, my sun is at 29 degrees of Scorpio. And my Mercury is in Scorpio as well. So if you want to, consider me secretive, that's fine by me. I don't think I am as a whole. I mean, but you know what? I realized, I kind of am in a certain way, because this is going to sound a little wacky to some people, but I believe that in a former life I was famous, but I don't think I was famous. I think I was a silent movie star, and I was famous for that period in those days, maybe in the teens or the early 20s, before talkies. And I feel like I died young in that lifetime. It's like sometimes, I don't have past life recall. It's almost like I feel like I'm making this up, but I feel like it might have even been in 1908, because I felt like I don't know if it was a dream or what, but I could see myself. I feel like it was during the San Francisco earthquake, and there was a big earthquake in 1908. And then I was going down this hallway that had red carpeting, and it was in a hotel. And maybe I was trying to run out of the hotel. And, I'm sure that they made movies all up and down the coast of California. I have no doubt that they did that. I don't know, but I feel like I was briefly famous, and somebody that you probably wouldn't even know their name today. So not like Mary Pickford or something like that. Because I saw a movie poster once in a local movie house, and it was like, I feel like that kind of ignited my memory, my cellular memory of it. But in any case, so in that lifetime, I probably realized that fame isn't all it's cracked up to be, because I can't, I cannot see why anybody would want to be famous. I love the fact that I can make videos and sometimes, getting thousands of hits, and that I'm not recognized on the street. You know what I mean? And even if you are a content creator with, let's say, 100,000 or 200,000 followers, there's a possibility that somebody might recognize you, especially if you're buying something and you give them your card and they look at that card's name and then they put two and two together. And so that's something that I do not want. I know that it's a long shot with me. Maybe I have delusions of grandeur. Actually, my chart indicates that I have the sun opposing Jupiter, so that's delusions of grandeur. Okay, so okay, maybe I do. Oh well. But I just wanted to tell you why that is, and also just even in terms of appearance, I believe that this is a young person's game. I know that there are channels with even senior citizens. That's not me yet, but there are channels with, a very good, impressive amount of subscribers, that the person is retired or they're seniors. And I think that's way cool because there's so many voices and perspectives that we need to hear from. But I personally, after years of being, I wouldn't call myself vain, but having Taurus rising, and so being ruled by Venus, I was very, really like involved with my appearance during my teenage years and into my 20s. And that has left me. I'm no longer interested in that. I don't wear makeup and I don't want to have to think about that. I love that I can just press record like I'm doing right now. And, I could wear whatever and it doesn't matter. So I hope that this made sense. And I know, I just want to say one more thing. If you're old enough, you remember listening to the radio and maybe there were certain disc jockeys that you liked, that were your favorite disc jockeys because you would listen to them during their shifts every day or every evening, or talk radio when it was big in the 80s and the 90s. And you would form this image of what that person looked like. And then sometimes there might be a poster that person, if it was a local radio personality, that they were going to make an appearance somewhere. I know that happened with me. By and large, when I saw that radio personality's appearance, it was usually disappointing. Primarily because they did not look anything like I pictured them to look like. And I think this is because some of us, and this is true for me, I'm a very introverted person out in public. I'm not like, I wouldn't say that I have social anxiety, where I can't go up to a stranger and ask them what time it is or anything. I don't have that. And I can strike up not strike up, I don't like to bother people, but if somebody strikes up a conversation with me, I'm capable of sustaining the conversation. But I'm still inhibited in that way. I feel socially awkward. And I feel so much more at ease when I'm at home right now talking to myself, in this room in the back of my flat. And, what does that say about me? Well, whatever, I'm an introvert. So some people are just very comfortable. They'd be comfortable in front of a mic. In front of a camera where they were showing themselves. I think that would be very inhibiting for me. to, and I've seen myself one time videotaped when videotape was not like widely done, or well, maybe it was at that time, but it was a different, they were big videotape, camcorders. And I saw myself on film and I cringed. Just like, sometimes you hear yourself and you cringe. I used to be like that. I used to hate hearing myself. I've gotten used to it, but maybe I would get used to seeing myself. But I remember how I looked like a nervous bird. I was very like jumpy because especially back then in my 20s, I think I was very I think I was still, my nervous system needed regulation. So it's not something where I think, wow, I would really promote my business more if I showed myself. I think you do, though. I won't lie. I think that people do form more of a connection with you sometimes if they see you. But I do believe, too, that if you're old enough to remember radio and listening to it a lot, and maybe listening to talk shows, that you can, that you did form a connection with those people regardless. So honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised that I haven't gotten this kind of comment more often. I have gotten it before, and then some people just kind of very good naturedly have teased me about, like, oh, let's see your face or whatever. And that's just me. So hopefully those of you who have listened to me regularly know that I'm not hiding something in terms of not, not living in integrity. It's all about not wanting to put myself out there completely. So I hope that you have a great evening, day, afternoon. I was going to say morning, afternoon, whatever. And thanks for listening to this, and take care. Bye.